All right, welcome to Lights, Camera, Barstool. Today we are reviewing two highly anticipated movies in their own rights: Captain America: Brave New World and Paddington 3. With
Hell yeah.
Paddington in Peru. Which, by the way, one of the funniest things about the Paddington saga is Clemmer didn't know anything about Paddington. He's like, because he's been doing this whole thing where he needs to go to all the movies that release in
Yeah.
theaters, and he thought that having to go to Paddington was a chore, like a bad thing. And I was like, no, like they're like very well regarded movies, like very, very highly regarded, like some of the highest rated animated movies ever and highest like grossing, all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, but that's all fake. It's kid stuff. I'm like, no, my friend. Like by adult standards, they are highly regarded.
What an asshole. I love Clemmer, but that's such an asshole take. That'd be like writing off Toy Story because it's got a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes and being like, it's a kid's movie.
He thought it was like a weird bit or something that the internet did with the movie. And I'm like, no, dude, they are just legitimately good movies. And then he watched the first two ahead of seeing the last one, and he's like, oh my god, I was laughing and crying. I didn't know what to say about Paddington. I'm like, yeah, see, we weren't fucking with you.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
also had to walk it back on Dogman, which he also liked. Yeah. Anyway, before we get to those two reviews, let's quickly look at some news. We got our first look at Matt Damon in The Odyssey. He'll be it was basically confirming he'll be playing Odysseus. Just him in the standard old school Greek gear and all that shit. Looks great, looks cool. History nerds, suck my dick. I don't care what you have to say about this. They're all like, oh, they always use the old stereotypical. That's not my Mycenaean warfare horned boar tusk helmet. Like, shut the fuck up. Does whatever looks cool, as long as you're in like a close enough approximation and it looks cool, no one cares.
Sorry, what were we talking about?
Yeah, I know you see with your damn book. You have that read standby every time I
No,
record.
no, you are 100% right though. The history nerds, they become too confident online, far too confident. They think that they have any jurisdiction in the film and movie space. Like they know what they're talking about. They might know what they're talking about history wise. They don't know how to make a fucking movie. Christopher Nolan knows how to make a fucking movie. Also, it's the fucking Odyssey. It's a goddamn fantasy book. None of this is real. None of it.
Yep.
So who cares if he's wearing the like incorrect headdress for the period and should be wearing what people were like? She should be wearing a boar tusk helmet. Boar tusk, which I guess is
stupid. Like
yeah.
it looks dumb. This is what it
Yes.
is. It's not like some like insane like fucking comic book inaccuracy type of thing or whatever like that. Like it's such like a minute detail. That helmet, the one he's wearing in that promo, that's the cool old school Greek helmet. That just is what it is. What it is. I also
It also there's a decent chance it won't be the helmet. Like this is like principal photography. Like this is like early set photo, just getting a costume on him, taking a picture. It's like when we got that first look at Robert Pattinson for the Batman. It was like the movie didn't come out for another 3 years. This could like very easily just not be in the movie at all.
Yeah, and I wouldn't care if it was because it's the superior old school Greek helmet, and I see that I'm like, that's cool. That's 300. That's Troy. That's like fucking old Spartacus, like all the old school Greek things. I also saw. Did you see the one person that tweeted like, "Oh my god, guys, the cinematographer that shot Nope is making this movie. Never kill yourself or something like that." Did you see that tweet?
Yeah, I thought that was a very strange way to. I mean, he did pop off on Nope. I get that, but like it's Hoyt Van Hoytema. Like
that guy's he's like an Oscar winner. Like he's not like, and he didn't win for Nope. Like he's a very well regarded cinematographer.
I'd be like, oh man, Roger Deakins, the guy who did Rango.
That's what I'm saying. Like it just doesn't click in my head unless they were trying to say like, oh well, look at this specific Western looking imagery. But like, I don't know. There's a better way to phrase that. Maybe.
Also, when was the last? He used him for Nolan did Hoyt with Oppenheimer too. Like he's done pretty much everything with him.
Yeah, everything with him. He's done a bunch of other ones, good ones too. He did if I remember correctly, he did Ad Astra as well, which is phenomenal. And I wish more people dug Ad Astra. I really like that movie.
Did you know that James Gray hates that movie?
That's bizarro. Why?
It feels like a movie that a director got to make what he wanted to make. So it's weird to. Apparently just hates it. I know. It's amazing.
I liked it a lot as a fan, I guess. We had the first trailer for The Accountant 2. I like The Accountant 1 more than I probably should for what the movie is. Like it came from that era of like autism's a superpower. Like it a lot about it is silly. You know what I mean? But this looks like it's like a kind of very different direction. Where like the first movie's like, hey, we're doing a lot of setup and there's a little bit of action. You know what I mean? Like the action wasn't like the main centerpiece of that movie really. This is like kind of looks like it's the exact opposite. Like it's nothing but action, and it's instead of Bernthal being in and out, it's like a lot of Bernthal. And I don't remember the actress's name in it. I don't think she's particularly huge or anything, but I don't know. Looks fine, but I'm curious how they spin this into a sequel, because a lot of the cool reveals in that, I just don't know how that plays.
It's the account toont, as our friends at the Weekly Planet would say, the account toont. Completely unnecessary sequel. It's a very weird thing for Ben Affleck, one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, to want to do out of all the properties he's been a part of, and all the leeway and all the cachet. He can make whatever he wants to make, and we're coming back to The Accountant. I guess I'm excited for no, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not excited for this. I'll watch it. I'm not excited for it. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would have to
the beginning of that movie is very funny.
Yeah,
of the first one, when he's just, and he's like, what are they trying? He's like working as like insurance agent.
He's doing the thing from Incredibles, where like he's trying to subvert the whatever rules of the IRS.
Yes, and he's like,
instead of health insurance, IRS.
He's like, that's your home office. The whole house is your home office.
It's like, yeah, it's about 700 square feet, and he's like,
so stupid.
Speaking of, this actor was actually in the original Accountant, John Lithgow, being eyed for Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series, which I think is a phenomenal casting. He is one of the premier old guy actors we have in the world right now. I went on ad nauseum about this already, but like, he's one of the greatest. I think he's the greatest Churchill ever put to screen. People were saying like, oh, but what about Gary Oldman? He won the Oscar. It's like, Gary Oldman winning the Oscar for that wasn't exactly like, first of all, was not tough competition that year. Number two, like, watch John Lithgow as Churchill and watch like a clip of Churchill. They're like the same person. It's incredible how good he is in that. So I really am interested to see. I would love him. I think that's a dream casting for Dumbledore. Yeah,
in the way of like American actors that you can get to play a British person, it's hard to do better than Lithgow. And also, like you said, a very outside of his appearances, the Trinity Killer in the Dexter series, just a very sweet old man. Brings a smile to my face every time he's on screen. During the Interstellar re-release that I went to twice, leaving the theater both times, for some reason his lines are like they worm their way into my brain in that movie. Like, they said it's the last year for okra. Like that shit. Born 20 years too early, 20 years too late. My wife, my daughter knew it. You know it.
He's what do you call it? Coop's dad, right? Or
yeah, like the father-in-law. Yeah. Yeah, no, I love him. This is a good pick. I wonder though, like, are they going to do more Americans? That's kind of, I don't know if I like that. Like, this American, fine. Like you said, that Churchill performance, top tier. This man can clearly do a British accent and do a British performance. 95%, 99% of American actors cannot do it. And there's something to Harry Potter just being British as all get out. Like, I don't know.
It really depends actor to actor. I don't mind it, especially since so many English and Australians play our beloved American characters. So I wouldn't mind getting some back from them. So James Bond, if we ever get that opportunity, it'd be amazing. But yeah, it just depends actor to actor.
Do you think this ends up working, by the way? Like, just the series in general? Like I do, but I do think there's a world where this comes out and it doesn't do as well as it needs to do. Like, they're going to pump so much fucking money into this thing.
That'll happen with Lord of the Rings as well.
Exactly, and it's going to need to do a lot better viewership than that Rings of Power thing, which has become just I don't even know how it's getting renewed. Has decent viewership.
Like, I tweeted about how I didn't like it, and people were like on my ass, like, "Oh, second season was so much better." And like, they cut off annoying storylines for sure, but like, it still was so blah.
It's got like moderate viewership, and like, if you're gonna put $1 billion into something like that, like, it's got to be the biggest show on TV, which.
Yeah, it just wasn't.
Does Harry Potter have that? Like, will people? First, J.K. Rowling has to stop getting drunk and tweeting.
Yes, but cannot stop tweeting about trans people. It was funny when I forget which announcer it was on NFL. It might have been like Chris Collinsworth or Al Michaels. they had to like do an ad for Rings. No, because it's Thursday Night Football. But like one of them was just like saying like, yeah, the orcs are coming into Mordor from Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power after the game. Like, I want that to keep happening for sure. But,
They've taken Osgiliath.
taking we had the first trailer for the live action How to Train Your Dragon. I don't get it in like the same way where it just I just don't get it. I don't see any need for this in the same way that like I didn't really like. I was more excited in the Lion King version because like, hey, you have all these talented singers and performers, and you can kind of put these new spin on Lion King with all this new CGI stuff. This is just doing the same exact thing. You still have a CGI dragon. You're taking even some of the same characters that played them, like the Gerard Butler now playing live action version of himself. Like it's just like what is the point of this other than to just simply make money? And that's it. Like what other you have to put a spin on this.
You forgot the other reason. It's to promote their new theme park, which is also opening its doors this summer, right in line with the new movie.
Yeah.
Like you said, there would have been, I think, maybe a little bit more hype for me. Still not a ton because I'm just frankly over these live action remakes of child classics. There might have been a little bit more hype though if there was like some variation to it. But the director himself has come out and been like, nah, like we tried to keep this as accurate to the first movie as we possibly could. He's talking about how like there were some limitations in what they could do in that first movie. That's such a load of horseshit. Like animation, you can do way more in this in that kind of environment with dragons. Yeah, no, I've said it before. I love the character designs in those movies, and you lose that completely when you put it in a real world. Like the kids and the human characters look so cool and interesting in those movies, even compared to the dragons.
And charming, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's hard to replicate that level of like Pixar-ish charm. You know what I mean?
It's gonna make so much money.
Oh yeah, no, that's never been a question.
Money.
That's never been a question. Don't worry. If you're worried about that, that's not a problem. But...
I just wish people would want more. Just want more for yourself, please.
Yeah. Spielberg's UFO movie got delayed to 2026. So far, the cast list has Josh O'Connor, Wyatt Russell, Emily Blunt, Coleman Domingo, Colin Firth, and Eve Hewson. This is kind of a bummer because like I feel like Spielberg has been on track to like kind of give us some old school Spielberg. Like I liked. Oh my God, how am I already forgetting his
Fablemans?
Oh yeah, I almost want to call it like this and Gentlemanly Warfare for a second. It's like doesn't have like a really long subtitle, but no, not that movie, but like some like really long whatever. But yeah, no, I like that. That was obviously not like a blockbuster type of movie or anything like that, but this seemed like the next thing for him, and kind of a bummer that's going to take a little bit longer. But if it means getting a better movie, sure.
Yeah, no, this is sad. But it's worth waiting for. I don't think Spielberg's going to slow down anytime soon. He seems so spry. Like, I feel like he's got another decade in him. I mean, knock on wood, but like a decade of good production too. He seems very invested in making stuff. And this cast list is great.
Very good. It reminds me like definitely not on the same level, but like when you read like the Odyssey casting and you're like, whoa, like that's when you're going down this list and you're like, Josh O'Connor, whoa, that's a big rising star. Wyatt Russell, rising star. Emily Blunt, whoa. Coleman Domingo, whoa. Colin Firth, whoa. Like, by the way, that apparently that I haven't watched it yet. The Bridget Jones movie is like incredible.
Yeah,
the one they dumped on Peacock.
I was actually thinking about watching that on my flight yesterday. Decided against it and read a book, but I'm shocked to hear that this movie is like good.
I'm just happy you landed, brother.
Dude,
just counting your lucky stars.
Dude, I flew Delta too. I was like, and it was like a small plane, so like when you get on those small planes, they have to take off way faster and go straight up. And so if there's like any bit of like wind in the air or like turbulence, like you feel that like so much. So for the first 20 minutes, the plane was like shaking, and I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!"
The last thing you see before you fucking explode in a ball of fire is Bridget Jones, The Final Diary, or whatever the fuck the title of it is. Chris Pine will star in a new crime thriller, Nowhere Fast, with Noah Hawley set to direct. It follows a small-town criminal in Texas who inadvertently kills the nephew of a boss. Chris Pine, obviously no stranger to Texas crime movies by any means. One of the best of all time, Hell or High Water. Noah Hawley, very interesting wrinkle on this, because I think Noah Hawley is very, very talented at creating interesting stories. As evident if you go through his filmography, pretty much everything is an interesting tale. So I like both of this. And Chris Pine, I feel like he had the Dungeons and Dragons movie, which was good, way better than my expectations anyway. I ate a lot of shit on that. And he had the Contract movie, which is kind of a bummer considering it was him and Ben Foster. Yeah, it was Ben Foster in that, right? And a couple other random movies, but I feel like he's due for a good sort of thriller movie or drama or whatever.
Brother, it can't get worse than his last
The
movie.
Beach House or whatever the fuck, or
The
Beach Man, Pool Man.
the pool man.
Yeah. Oh, that was bad. That was bad.
The
That was
Pool
like
Man,
I
which has
respect him for trying, but
it, shockingly, this is one of the lowest ratings I've ever seen on IMDb. 4.0 out of 10. That's like hard. It's like hard to dip below 5 out of 10 on IMDb. It's hard. 4 out of 10 is crazy.
I remember when they were just announced, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of like interesting." He's playing like this like bummy scumbag type of guy, cool. And then the first reviews come in, they're like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I don't know how this got released." It's like, "Oh," and then I went and watched it. I was like, "Oh, like he is." I don't know if it was just like he needed. I think he might just need a little more help, maybe behind the scenes or something like that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
No, that does sound good. I need a new look. Speaking of Noah Hawley, when are we gonna get a fucking trailer for Alien Earth? Like
Alien
that
Earth,
comes out in 4 months, 5 months.
We had a new teaser around the Super Bowl, right? Like
it was just like a quick like a quick like look at the alien, but it's like we know what the xenomorph looks like.
The Xeno. Yeah, we know Xeno.
Yeah.
Speaking of aliens, Mickey 17 currently sitting in at 88%. It came in a little bit lower. I think it started out in the 70s or something like that, but up to 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Promising. And most of the reviews that I've seen have been like, it's not Parasite for sure, but it's still very good.
Yeah. I think anyone going into like hopefully the general public, because I would say the general public just learned about Bong. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because of Parasite. So I really hope the general public does not go into this movie expecting Parasite.
Yeah.
Like they got to realize like he has other stuff that's way more lighthearted and funny and stuff like Okja and
Okja was fucking Jake Gyllenhaal cuts a rug in that movie, man.
I was about to say Snowpiercer, but that's not very lighthearted.
No, I mean some of these other ones are kind of heavy. Like Memories of Murder is kind of heavy.
Yes.
It just is heavy. What was the other one?
The Host.
The Host is like, so there's actually some pretty funny scenes in The Host, but like it is mostly heavy.
But like what I would say is like don't go in expecting Parasite. I think this is going to be it's going to be played way more as a straight comedy. I don't have very high expectations, to be honest, based on these reviews that have been coming in, but I'm ready to go to the theater and have a good time.
Yeah, that's all I want. And Robert Pattinson seems to be having an absolute blast on this whole process.
Dude, him and Bong Joon-ho are best friends. And they can't speak the same language. There's a translator sitting between them, and they are just all over each other and love each other.
Dude, I love it. It's like I forget which two players it was. Do you remember that guy who was on the Blue Jays? I think it was like Murasaki. Who like he always just had like these really funny quotes in English. He'd be like, "Why are you eating so many bananas?" And he's like, "You see monkeys? Monkeys eat bananas. You see monkeys ever cramp? That's because they eat bananas. So I eat bananas so that Murasaki doesn't cramp." And like he had a really good friend on that team that I just can't remember, but like they couldn't. There's a big language barrier. I might even think of someone else. I don't know, but I think that was him. But yeah,
that's funny.
Anyway, Mickey 17. Now we could do Captain America, Brave New World. Yeah. So Marvel's been in a weird spot. Obviously, like they slowed down their production a lot because of just everything seems to be on the down. Like they're still making tons of money, all that shit, but like the quality of the movies clearly took a bit of a dip. The shows have been not. I would say like 90% of them have not been really good. So I understand and actually like the fact that they have scaled back a little bit, and while still being kind of unfortunately attached to the runways that they've set up for themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like even if they want to scale back, they've already set up the Falcon as being Captain America, and like you just need to kind of see that through, and that just is what it is. Same thing with some other movies that we're going to have later this year. But this one, directed by Julius Ona, who did Cloverfield Paradox, Lucy. Wait, that's not Lucy. But yeah, he doesn't have like a massive filmography. but he got this one. Stars Anthony Mackie, obviously, Danny Ramirez, again, who reprising from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sharia Haas, Carl Lumbly, Giancarlo Esposito, Tim Blake Nelson, Harrison Ford. So the movie, the base pitch of the movie, I was really into, right? Where they're like, hey, we're doing kind of like a more old school, similar to Captain America and the Winter Soldier, like espionage, low scale of powers, with the exception of Red Hulk, which obviously they tease later on. But it's going to be mostly like espionage, political thriller with the Falcon insert in that. That sounds great to me. Love that. I think what we get out of the actual movie is not like, part of it is that and part of it isn't. It's kind of a lot of reruns of old MCU plot beats. Like, and we'll just get it out of the way right now because this isn't a movie I think that requires a ton of spoiler warnings or anything like that. But like, this will be spoilers. Keep that in mind. Look, the Hulk's being mind controlled. You've seen that before. The government is working with shady forces of superpower heroes to keep power. Seen that before. We have our righteous hero that's gonna go and defeat this government run agency thing. Like, seen that before. And also on top of all that, the core sort of character development for the Falcon in this being, I don't know if I can live up to these standards of that is set for me by Steve Rogers. We've seen that before in the entirety of the series of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's what the entire series was about, and they just did it again. So I want to give them a little bit of credit in that, like, they, on top of they had to reshoot a lot of stuff with this movie just because of shit that was going on in the real world, and that sucks. And you can clearly see where that kind of impacted certain parts of this movie. But outside of that, I'll give it credit. The CGI in some spots look really cool. Like the big dogfight sequence, I thought was amazing. Really, really cool. I wish they would do more stuff like that in movies. Whoever designed that whole sequence, give them a fighter jet movie. But overall, it's just a lot of like, I don't know. It's a lot of stuff you've already seen. Pretty blah. Like, or not, blahs may not even, that's maybe be too harsh. More like, it's like average, which is a bummer because you're hoping that we're getting like that return to Marvel feel that like Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't even want to give them credit for that because it's like they got a whole different set of rules and a whole different set of thing and all that stuff. But like, you want to return to like the real sort of feeling of Marvel, which you don't really get, I would say, in this.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, that it just is a lot of things we've seen before, because I do think this movie's bad. Let me be clear. I think this is not a good movie. I didn't have fun. I think it looks pretty atrocious at points, while there are some high points, like you mentioned. I think the fighter jet sequence is good, and the Red Hulk looks amazing. Narratively a mess, which we kind of knew that it would be going in. But I think the real biggest issue for this movie, despite just not being that good, is that it just doesn't. Audiences want to be surprised. And that could be a good surprise. It could even be a bad surprise. This movie does nothing to surprise the audience in any way, shape, or form. And maybe that's because of the lead up to it, where we just have had. When was the last time we had a Marvel movie come out where the general audience was this tapped into like the news around the production of the movie? Like, my mom knows that there were production problems with this movie going in. So there were just a lot of expectations, and it like met every expectation, I feel like. But I think that's an issue. Like, it does nothing to surprise you, good way or bad way. Anthony Mackie, I feel bad for you. You are good in this role. They stripped him away of like any kind of emotional beat, like any real sincerity or heart in this movie. There are some like things there that I think would have been great. Like the stuff with the older Captain America, or not Captain America, the first super soldier.
Bradley, yeah.
Yeah, Bradley. I think that relationship is interesting. I wish we had gotten more time with Bucky, who makes like a really brief appearance. That speech is great, though. And then the stuff with Danny Ramirez, who I think will actually kind of be a star one day. He's really charismatic. They just can never put it together. And then there's like just characters that it doesn't make any sense why they're there. And they're just eating up screen time. People like
Secret Service agent.
The Secret Service agent. What the fuck were they thinking there? What the fuck were they thinking with Shira Haas's character? Like, legitimately.
That's a reshoot problem, I think, though. That I understand a little bit more.
Maybe. But even then, it's a bad casting. Like, the fight sequences with her, I can get behind, like, a woman beating up men, but when the woman is 4'10" and weighs 80 pounds and she's flipping full grown men, just like flipping them with her hand. Like, how much can the Widow program possibly teach?
It can't make your bones denser.
What was that?
It can't make like your bones denser,
Yeah. And then the Sidewinder character with Giancarlo Esposito, like clearly tagged on at the very end and then just placed at the front of the movie. Just a lot of weird stuff. The mind control I thought was fucking stupid. Like there is a way of doing it where it's cool, but like just a phone flashing twice in your face. So stupid. Yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff in this movie I don't like. I don't think it's the worst Marvel movie ever made. I don't even think it's like bottom 3, bottom 5.
Which, if you looked at Rotten Tomatoes, they would say it's worse than Thor: The Dark World, worse than The Hulk, worse than that's all wrong.
I don't think it's worse than The Dark World or not even The Incredible Hulk. Even though The Incredible Hulk does have some cool stuff, it's also kind of a mess. It's not that bad, but it is bad. Now, I'll ask you. I have an opinion on this, but I'll ask you, do you think Marvel course corrects after this? This, I do think, is like, for me at least, I think things start to get a lot greener, a lot brighter for them. Because this is like the last of like the old regime where they were really just making whatever they wanted and thought they were unbeatable.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of sort of what DC's been going through, where it's like you need to like shake off like whatever continuity that you had, you need to kind of like shake it up before you do the cold restart, which is sort of what they've been going through before hitting into now the James Gunn universe. But at the same time, like it's not like a James Gunn took over; it's still Feige and company. So I do think that there is a degree in which like this is the last remnants of that, and now they can move into the new world, the new Avengers, the new characters, Thunderbolts, like all these other new people, and all that is like it could be that sort of thing. I just don't know because it's still the same people in charge.
Yeah, so I guess the question is like, do Kevin Feige and Louis Esposito learn their lesson and like take notes and figure out how to make something people are interested in again, which people are still very interested in this universe. This movie, despite bad reviews, made fucking gangbusters at the box office over the weekend. So people are still interested in it, but there's a clear decline, I think.
Yeah, and I think people have obviously acknowledged that. If you go look at like, any social sentiment anywhere, like everyone's talking about that.
Yeah.
But I will say for this, I would disagree with you in that I don't think this is like a bad movie because I've seen so many Marvel bad movies. You know what I mean? Like you're talking like fucking again like Thor: The Dark Worlds of the world, like the ones that are like barely functional movies. Those stink. Like this is like a watchable movie. Like it's entertaining in spots. There's points where you're like, ugh, like the CGI, the fucking backlit Cherry Grove bullshit. Looks awful. But
what the fuck was? Wait, they shot that on a real set. Those are real trees. How did it come out looking like that?
I don't know. It looked so bad. Like I don't know how it managed to look that fake when the Red Hulk looks so good and the aerial combat scene looks so good. I don't know how those two scenes come from the same movie. But again, factor in some reshoot issues and all that. But I do think when you look at this movie and you focus on the core characters of Falcon, I guess New Falcon, Danny Ramirez, Bradley, and Hulk, like those are all good characters. It got muddled down with the Sharia Haas and Secret Service agent of no name and some of these other characters. But when you focus in on that core four, and if this movie really kind of dialed in on them, I think it could have been a lot better for sure. And also, I think a big issue with this to me, and I get what the point they're trying to make with it, he's got to take the super soldier serum. He's got to take the super soldier serum.
It looks so stupid when he's fighting. Like, if he's not going to take the super soldier serum, don't have him fight fucking Red Hulk. Like, just can't. What are we doing?
You just can't do it. Like, none of that works. Also, this is actually, I'll save that for later. But he's doing all these things where he's like jumping in midair, flipping and kicking a fucking shield that goes in 15 directions and comes back to him. Like, I bought that with Steve Rogers because he has this super soldier serum. Like, you know what I mean? Like his brain is fucking super neuron and he has like all these insane muscles and all that shit. Like he's just a troop. Like this is just a soldier. You know what I mean? Like he could be the best in the world, whatever. And like you could say like the same thing with like Hawkeye, for example, or with Black Widow maybe. But like they don't necessarily take it to that next level, I would say. You know what I mean? It's usually them just beating the shit out of someone or shooting them. Like that extra level of shit is just not enough. And I think that if you want Falcon to be this next leader, this next big Steve Rogers, he needs to have something that 99.9% of people don't have. And that I think is this kind of like the sort of baseline for a superhero. Even if you're looking at like Batman, like he has no superpowers, he's still like one of the richest guys on earth and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Smart. Yeah, he's like a
Iron Man,
genius too. Like
super intelligence. Like he does none of that. He's just a troop with a cool set of gear. And like that works if you're like fucking Punisher. I don't think it works in this case if you're going to be like the next leader of the Avengers. So he needs something extra and something to help him maybe be a little bit. And I think they've tried this too. Like Captain America, for whatever you want to praise him, pretty one-dimensional character or whatever you want to describe him as. But like you got to give maybe Falcon a little bit more of that because I think they're trying to play him into being like that more like I'm the beacon of good. I'm like you ever watch like My Hero Academia?
yeah.
He's like the fucking All Might and all that. Like he's like I'm the beacon of all that shit. Like you need give him a little more depth maybe. So, but
Yeah,
I'm kind of
this almost should have been, which I know it's the fourth movie in the franchise within the franchise, but they really should have reset and created an origin story for Sam instead of just trying to continue his story, from the Avengers. I enjoyed the series to a degree. I thought the ending was terrible, but
they
the first
also
few
got
episodes,
by
the COVID, I forgot about that. But if that series wasn't there and they had turned that movie, like that storyline of Sam like deciding to take on the Shield, and like that is a good story. That's a good movie where he doesn't even need the super soldier serum. Like that's interesting. This is like just not what I don't think anyone wants this. Like I don't know who wants super powerless Captain America.
Mm-hmm. It's just kind of I don't know. I don't love that as a leader of. I don't even know if he's supposed to be the leader of the Avengers in this next phase, but it feels like that's the kind of he's asking to reform them. So I guess so.
I was hoping it was going to be Spider-Man.
Yeah. But yeah, you need something next level, and I feel like and they've said in interviews too, like, yeah, I don't think he's ever going to take the serum. Take the serum. Take the serum. Please take the serum. Like you're.
Ooh, I did see someone on Twitter. I saw someone throw out an idea. He should go to Wakanda and take that flower. It's
that's basically super soldier serum. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, he got his tech from the Wakandans. He's a black man. Like there's a storyline here where we could
give him superpowers and I'm in. He just needs some sort of superpower.
He needs something where like he got stabbed like 3 times and he just walked it off.
Just not happening. Like it's just like you could give whatever grace you want to give him for the suit and all that stuff, but like you put him up against fucking like the next Thanos or whatever, he's getting his ass kicked. And like I don't know, he needs something else. But anyway, that's Captain America. By the way, the only thing I meant to mention was the fact that why the fuck or how did Red Hulk know to do the slap thing? I was like, he turned into Red Hulk and immediately did that. That's a phase 2 move. Like,
oh yeah, shout out Betty. Shout out Betty. You remember Betty?
Everyone remembers Betty.
If you don't remember Betty, the first 30 minutes of the movie did a very good job of catching you up on 2
Betty,
movies
your daughter.
Yeah, you didn't have to look up from your phone for the first 20 minutes. They were just exposition dumping for 20 straight minutes. It was crazy.
This is like, as far as like the pantheon of like Marvel villains go, this guy stunk. A bad villain.
Oh yeah,
bad villain, man. We gotta do better than that.
I don't even know how you make that like a cool villain, to be honest. No. Like I've seen pictures of him in the comics. He's got a couple different designs. I think every design that he has stinks. Like the big, like long head, like it just looks stupid. It just looks dumb.
Just don't do that. Like just have him be a little bit hint of green. He doesn't need all the whatever that shit exposed brain. Paddington 3, the first of the Paddington movies to not have Paul King directing it, who recently did. I'm assuming he couldn't do this because he was doing the Wonka movie. But Paddington 3, we are both, I would assume, big fans of both the first and the second one. I was shocked by how much I liked the first movie, and then even more shocked that they were able to do a second movie that was just as charming, if not better, which I personally think is better. than the first one. It made no sense how good both of these movies are. But that little damn bear is so charming, and his desire for marmalade and other baked goods of that nature, like it's somebody you get behind him and you root for him, and you always get a little bit of a tear in your eye towards the end of it because that he makes you feel things. And I think that what's that English actor that voiced him,
Ben Winslow or Wishlaw?
yeah, yeah. He
Wishaw.
just
Wishaw.
Winshaw, right? Something like that. Or
Wishaw.
Winshaw, Ben Winshaw. He's just got a very disarming voice, and you root for him. I think this movie is probably the weakest of the three, but still very good. Like it would be for another animated franchise like one of their best that they've ever made. I liked it. I think it's maybe hurt by movies like Jungle Cruise, where like you get a lot of this like CGI fucking background of beasts and trees and foliage and all that shit. That hurts a little bit. I also think like Antonio Banderas is just caught in a loop. He's just stuck playing like this same. I feel like he's played this exact character 800 times for various kid-ish level adventure movies. Other than that, though, I thought it was fun, enjoyable. The family aspect of it towards the end, I really liked it. It hits you in the heart a little bit towards the end of it, and for the most part, like the adventures, like the charm, which is always I think the big highlight of these movies. And I still think to this day it is the only good thing that Great Britain exports right now. It is the only good thing coming off of that island.
That and Haley Atwell.
Basically,
stood up and cheered when she just made her little cameo, which is very funny. She's in it for 30 seconds, so clearly she just asked to be in this movie.
Yeah,
like this is something she just really wanted to do,
which all English people should.
And she did an American accent, which was surprising. Wait, yeah, no, she's not American. About had a brain fart there. She's Captain Britain.
Captain Britain.
Yeah, weakest of the three for sure. But still, what makes these movies great is just like the wholesome messaging, the sincerity to them, like their unabashed like family friendliness that like anyone can wrap their arms around. Like it's not Pixar's soul. Like it's a very easy movie to wrap, and all of them are very easy movies to wrap your arms around. And this is still that. Like I don't love everything in the story, like you said, the Jungle Cruise portion a little strange. The beast in the forest, like with the like. Mm-hmm. The ghillie suits, like a little strange. But yeah, no, I fucking love that bear. If they made 10 more of these at like this exact level, I'd be fine with that. I really would. Like let the kids get old and have their own kids. Like fuck it. Keep making these. I do not care. I will show up every single time and just be whisked away to magical Britain land that doesn't exist because Britain is not a magical land. And just be there with that little bear. Just being the kindest little soul imaginable.
I do love the idea of like someone like watching Paddington and going to London and being like, "Oh, this must be so fancy," and just confronted by a 300-pound, red-faced, bald guy like, "Day in the life of a true British geezer. Drink a Stella. Beat my son because Man City lost." Like, that's my.
What's my wife Susan?
Ain't she a doll? Yeah. But we're both big fans of Paddington. Again, I think weakest of the trio, but it's so relative to other things. And I would agree with you. Again, make 1,000 of these. I'll watch them every single time. It's a good palate cleanser, especially because like a lot of these, like we were just talking about with How to Train Your Dragon. It's like you feel like this like very insincere level of cash grabbing to them, and like, look, the only reason the studios continue to make these is because they make money. There's no doubt about that. But you feel at least a level of sincerity put into the movies, which is something you can't say about every movie.
Yeah, it's also not like they're making these, one every 3 years. Like what was the last one? Like 7 years ago? Like
Paddington 2? I don't think it was 7 years ago, was it?
8 years ago.
Damn, seriously?
Yeah, and I think the first one came out like 7 years before that. So it's not like they're really cranking these out. Like they're taking their time and just, playing it right. Like if they keep that pace up, fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Make as many as you want.
I agree. I would like King to come back as much as I like.
And Sally Hawkins. That did kind of bother me that Sally Hawkins wasn't in there.
Yeah. I would note too that I think as much as there was like parts of Wonka I did like a lot. I wish it was a little bit more practical versus like you don't need CGI candy. Make real candy. Like you can afford to make real candy in a studio movie like that. Like I do think there's a lot I liked about that, but at the same time, just if he was locked in a room and was forced to do nothing but make Paddington for the rest of life, that'd be a good trade. It'd be a human rights
Yeah.
disaster. I don't care. That'd be a good trade for humanity. Um, but anyway, that's Paddington. A couple of shows to catch up on. Invincible's been doing hot. Last episode was really cool. There's a lot of there's a cool character that they reintroduce in the last episode that I really liked. Good fight sequences, lots of
Oh,
like stuff that you love about the first season coming back, and you're seeing it in this season. And it's weird because like when you look at like the first season of Invincible, like at least through the first half of or 75-80% of it, it's like relatively like you see Mark coming into his powers, like he isn't forced to do anything. This is a lot of like, hey, we're gonna force you to do things that you don't want to do. Like this is the responsibility that you bear as a hero, and I enjoy that a lot.
yeah. No, it's been very good. I mean, they're sticking straight to the comic storyline. They've barely changed anything. A couple dialogue change, but that's kind of it. I do wish the animation was better. I thought by
I
now
saw
the
the side by
animation would.
sides, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's not terrible. It's just like the comic art is so great, and it's Amazon, so it's like I know you got the money. There's interest in this show. Just fucking do it. Just do it. Um, and yeah, they're the pacing's nice. The next few episodes are going to be unreal. The character that's about to show up is fucking
Is
awesome.
it that hot ass Viltrumite or
Well, her and a friend who actually was introduced in season 1, I think.
gotcha? I know I'm set up to hate her somehow. I don't know how, so don't tell me, but I know I'm gonna hate her
Oh yeah.
guts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think maybe part of the budget things like they're like, yeah, we need more money for the budget. Like, sorry, we just cast Simu Liu as a voice role in this. Like, oh, we need
Dude,
more budget. We just cast this guy.
they had one of the craziest. Like they had someone who's voicing Omniboy. That's the question. They have a
Oh,
celebrity voice for Omniboy, which is like,
wait,
what are we
really?
doing? Yes. Let's see if I can find it.
Like a celebrity child, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Boy voice. Let's see, Mark Burkholder.
Hold
I
on.
don't know who that is. Let's see, Mark Burkholder. He has a wiki page. Oh my god, this guy has like 18 credits. What the fuck? Oh, well, he's 27. Never mind. I don't know if I would call this guy like some massive cameo or anything, but he's got a lot of voice performances.
But what I should say is just like there's so many parts in this where you don't need a celebrity voice for every single fucking character. Like
Yeah,
every character in this, like you got like Zachary Quinto doing a fucking robot voice. Why? You can't even tell it's him.
it'd be cool to have like because there's a lot of like really good veteran voice actors out there, and some of them are in this. Like the guy that
Mm-hmm.
voices the blue twins. I forget what are their names. The blue giant guys.
Oh, the Mahler twins. Yeah, that's
Yeah, Kevin Michael Richardson or something. I believe his name is.
yes,
Like he's a
yes.
voice acting veteran. There's a couple other ones too. I think like Troy Baker has something in this. Like you can hire all those guys, and you're not gonna have to pay them as much as you pay Simu Liu for 2 seconds of
That
voice
was
work.
crazy. Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
crazy one too. Like, why?
I think
Why?
even those like twin brothers in this most recent or second to most recent one. Like I think they were I forget who they were, but they were also
That was Zolo Mary
from Blue
Duenas.
Beetle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Which
that's right.
again, like, what? Why are you spending? Maybe this could be a thing where they just agree to do it. I don't know.
For lower amounts of money, yeah, it's very possible.
They-
I mean, it's made by a very well respected crew in like Seth Rogen's obviously a big part of it. I believe Evan Goldberg is a big part of it too.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe. Other show Paradise. Paradise has just been the.
Yeah.
Have you
You
watched
and
this?
no, but you and Jeff had just like, I can't tell if I should watch it or not watch it because you guys are like, it's the worst fucking show I've ever seen.
Okay,
Can't wait for the
I
next
want
episode.
to make it very as clear as humanly possible. I don't think it was ever the worst show I've ever seen, but like it is a very big ebb and flow show where like one episode will be like, holy shit, that's one of the best episodes of TV I've seen this year, and the next two are just kind of boring, like really
Mhm.
boring setup. And then the next one will be like, holy shit, that's crazy, what the fuck, blah blah blah, and then it's like, oh, back to pretty boring. I think that it is very interesting, and I think they have maybe an episode or two left to wrap up, and I have no idea how they do it. I think what's going to be a problem with this show is that the coolest twist of the movie or show so far happens in the end of the first episode, and it is such a big twist that it is one that I feel that if they showed that twist at the end of the first season, it would be like whoa, holy shit,
Yeah.
like how this is insane. But instead, now I feel like they're kind of beholden to leave off things in this season the same way at the same height that you lift off the first episode, which is kind of going to be impossible to do. But other than that, I do like the show. I'm not like Jeff hates it. I don't hate it at any. I don't think I've ever hated it at any point. But I was very like, oh, I'm starting to like for 2 episodes, I'm slowly like nodding off a little bit, and then I'm like, whoa, like so. I don't know. It's kind of like Lost in a way, but I enjoy it.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to watch it. I'm so locked in. I'm locked in on TV right now, which is it's been like a year since I really like got some TV shows like running concurrently that I liked all at the same time. And I have that with Invincible. I have that with Severance.
That was Severance was the next one I was going to mention. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Been
Severance.
great.
I am not caught up on Severance, so I want to give you a chance to pitch on it. But Severance, because I want to, I haven't rewatched the first season yet, and I wanted to rewatch versus watching like I'm assuming 45-second preview or wrap up they give you in the beginning of the episode. I prefer to rewatch the entire season, which is what I'm starting to do now with The Last of Us. So I'm a little bit into like 3 episodes back into Severance, but in the first season. But you're not caught up at the second season.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, like this show had to, for the break that it went on, like a 3-year break, might have been longer. And the cliffhanger that it left off on season 1, of course. And just like the goodwill that it lost over those 3 years, I would say. It had to come out so good to earn the public trust back. And it's done that. Like 5 episodes in, this is the best show on television. This is the best show on television, in my opinion, since Succession ended. It is fucking unreal. I think season 2 has been better than season 1. The mysteries they set up, the storylines they pull out, great. Hopefully, like more people get like not like. I think the acting is just incredible. Like the guy who plays Milchick is like going god mode right now.
Oh, in the new season, I was gonna say even in the first season he was really good.
He is very good in the first. He gets a bit of an expanded role in the second season, and he is like just knocking out of the park, just crushing it. So yeah, if you're watching Severance, you're just eating good every single week, every Friday. Yeah.
I remember we interviewed Adam Scott for towards the end of the first season releasing, and I remember I was just like looking up to see Severance season 2 was coming out at any point, like if it was announced or whatever, and this is like probably 2021 or something like that. And I found out like they had a casting call for the series in like upstate New York or something. And I was like, oh yeah, hey, I saw like they had casting calls for season 2. Like, are you guys excited for that? He's like, I didn't know we're not making season 2. He's like, oh, I fucked that up. Like I saw a casting call. I'm sorry, my bad. Like I just remember that, and that was years and years and years ago. So yeah, they were kind of in the same situation coincidentally as Invincible, and where Invincible. The episodes were good, but then the way that they fucked the release after that long wait was insane. And then on top of that, also acknowledging that fuck up in the people like liked that, which is crazy to me. Like the fact that they did that like promo for season 3 of Invincible where they're like making fun of themselves for doing that. It's like, no, you did that. You can't make that your thing. Like you can't own that. Like you can own it and be like, we fucked up or whatever. We should have done that in like a press release. You can't make that part of your anime or whatever your show. But yeah, the Severance is a great show, and I'm very excited to get back caught up.
Dude, you got to catch up, brother. It's like reaching like I'm trying to think of the last show where people theorized this hard. Like the theories are insane, and on top of the theories being good, the show is amazing.
Which seen a lot of theories about Paradise, brother, and a lot of theories about White Lotus as well. Actually, so far, which first episode was great.
Like I legit think this is like the most like theorized show since like WandaVision, and outside of like Marvel and like big commercial stuff, like, or I guess not big commercial stuff, but like Game of Thrones was also like a big theory show, and those are like the last 2 I can think of that even come close to like the fun way to talk about it, like how fun it is to think about the show.
I don't know. Have you seen the new episode of White Lotus? That's one I forgot to put in here. Really good. I think they did a great job of this exact thing in the last 2 seasons as well. It's like, hey, I'm not going to give you a lot of anybody. We're going to dip the toe with every single character so that you like become interested in all these like threads. You know what I mean? Like, and I've always loved that. Where like you You slowly unravel each thread at just about the same rate until they intersect, and I really enjoy that quite a bit.
Yeah, no, like it's pretty similar to the start from the first 2 seasons. I like the new location. Like the new cast for the most part. Walton Goggins, very interested in his character, whatever the fuck he's got going on. And then
Dude,
Jason
that trio of
Isaacs.
actresses is crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out Leslie Bibb.
Leslie Bibb, Mahanahan, and Carrie Coon. Like, that's a great crew.
Yeah, great crew. That crew rules. And then that whole family is gonna like. That's fucking insane. If you haven't watched yet, skip ahead like 2 minutes. But are they gonna have these like fucking brothers fuck each other? Like,
Oh yeah,
we're gonna have incest, aren't we? Like,
oh yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with Mike White? Like, insane when he's like, "What kind of porn you like, bro?"
Yeah.
And then he just gets up out of the bed, butt ass naked, and he's like staring in the mirror at his brother. He's like about to jerk off. Like, what the fuck, man? He's like, dude, she's hot. Just talking about his sister. What are we doing?
No, he is good at this. Remember the same thing? He had the kid like butt fucking his uncle or whatever in season 2.
Yeah, but it wasn't his real uncle.
Yeah.
I also don't know how to feel about, by the way, like the return characters. They did it with Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah,
I didn't really like it there, and now they're doing it again with the Fisher guy.
The whole point of that was like that he was a scammer, like he was a con man.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that level of it, and I assume if they're bringing both him and this the therapist character back, like he's big dead.
Yeah, that could be a good call.
Yeah.
Flash Judgment. Who do you think gets killed?
Him for sure.
Him. A lot of gunshots.
I saw some theories floating around about the gunshots. Robbie Fox had a thought right off the rip, which he told me like right after he had seen it. I hate how much it seems so obvious that one of those monkeys that they keep showing grabbed a gun and start shooting.
I think it's a monkey.
Yeah, but that seems like he's been really good. Mike White has anyway. Of like we had no idea what happened in either of those other 2 seasons, so I feel like they can't be telegraphed that much, especially with like somebody else pointed out the monkey see monkey hear eyes mouth thing, the one shot with the kids. So I feel like you wouldn't telegraph it that much. But yeah, I think for sure the Uncle Rico's dead. I think probably like the Patrick Schwarzenegger character is very similar to the one that Alexander Daddario's boyfriend won. But like that character lived.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a tougher one to call. So I think he'd be dead too.
Really? See, I think he lives. I think it's one of those things where Mike White lets the real villain get away. The real scum of society. Yeah, that Patrick Schwarzenegger, he's good at playing it. He's good. I mean, that was very believable. Dude, Jason Isaacs and Parker Posey's accents, not as much. Very fun accents, but good Lord, what is Parker Posey doing?
Look, they're having a yeah. She's on another planet, but Isaacs is I think okay. I just dig Oscar or Jason Isaacs, man. He's
Otis went to Duke, and then our middle child went to UNC. So you can imagine what our house is like. Who the fuck talks like that?
Yeah. What is the Australian like greeter said something so funny to that Tuesday? Oh, that must be so good for you, so good for you. Like it was something really funny. I forget exactly what it was. But yeah, also the subplot with the Thai like maitre d in the security guards and all that shit. Interesting. Mook, which is very funny as well. It's a character name.
Need way more of Mook. Way more Lisa. Let me tell you.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting so far. Very into this. Next week we will be, I believe, what do we got next week? Let's see. I always do this. I never look it up. I write down everything in the rundown, and then I just don't look up what movies are coming out later in this year or later in the next week. What am I seeing? Oh, I'm going to see on Friday Monkey Man or Monkey Boy, whatever.
The monkey.
Yeah. Too many monkeys.
I've seen that. Yeah, that was good. I'll review that for sure.
Yes. So we'll do that. And then we have, let's see, February, what are we, the 19th?
There's like one movie releasing the last week, and it's just the Looney Tunes movie.
Obviously, and I mean obviously, we're going to review The Unbreakable Boy. with Zach Levi.
Oh, I taught my son how to not have autism.
Yes, we
Oh,
obviously need to do
yes.
that. Yeah, and I guess you could maybe do the old guy. No, that's later. So we probably do the monkey and the unbreakable boy. Stuff that's for next week. And big news: we already shot half of the Goscars. We will be doing. We'll release this alongside the fan vote. So the fan vote will be not for our categories, but for the actual best movies and best awards of the year. So we'll release this along with the voting form. So if you're watching this, the voting form should already be up. Keep voting. We'll keep the voting open until the very last moment, and that'll be it'll be part 1 and part 2 for the Oscars. So you'll see them in separate arenas, so to speak. But until then, we will see you guys next week.
See you.